When HOA Karen called the police on my fence, she was absolutely certain she had me cornered. She stood there with her arms crossed, that smug smile plastered on her face, waiting for the officers to force me to tear down my property. What she didn't know was that she was about to learn the most expensive lesson of her life about jurisdiction. This is the story of what happens when someone assumes they have power they don't actually possess. And trust me, the ending will leave you speechless. It started 6 months ago when I moved into what I thought was a quiet neighborhood. My property sits on 2.3 acres at the end of Maple Ridge Drive, and I needed to install a fence for my 2 German shepherds, Max and Luna. I did everything by the book: research, permits, licensed contractors, everything legal. But Karen Whitfield had other plans. Picture this: 5 feet 2 inches, perfectly styled blonde hair, always carrying a clipboard like it was a weapon of mass destruction. She was the self-appointed neighborhood watch captain who treated the HOA like her personal kingdom. Day 1 of construction, Karen marched over like she owned the place. "Excuse me, where's your HOA approval for this fence?" she demanded, waving that clipboard. I politely explained I wasn't part of any HOA. She actually laughed in my face. "Everyone on Maple Ridge is in the Sunset Hills HOA. You can't just opt out because you don't like the rules." That's when she handed me my first violation notice: $50 for unauthorized construction. I tried to explain again, but she cut me off. "Save it for the hearing. You have 7 days to comply or face escalating penalties." Escalation phase. Karen's harassment campaign was military precise. Every morning at 7 a.m., she'd drive by taking photos. She measured my fence posts with a tape measure, documented every nail, even brought other neighbors as witnesses to my supposed violations. The violation notices kept coming. $100 for failure to submit architectural plans. $200 for non-compliance with community standards. By week 3, she was threatening legal action and liens against my property. But here's where it gets interesting. I'm not just any homeowner. I spent 12 years as a paralegal before retiring, and I know property law inside and out. So I started doing my own investigation. The breaking point. The final straw came on a Tuesday morning. I was having coffee on my deck when Karen's white SUV screeched into my driveway, blocking my contractor's truck. She jumped out like she was leading a SWAT raid. "This construction stops now," she screamed. "I'm calling the police and having you arrested for trespassing on HOA property." My contractor, a guy named Mike who'd been building fences for 20 years, just stared at her. "Lady, this is his property. We have permits." Karen got right in his face. "I don't care about your fake permits. I've been HOA president for 8 years. I know every inch of this jurisdiction." That word, jurisdiction. She had no idea how spectacularly wrong she was about to be. 20 minutes later, 2 patrol cars pulled up. Karen was practically vibrating with excitement, clutching a folder thick with her evidence. Officer Martinez stepped out, looking between Karen and me with the tired expression of someone who dealt with HOA disputes before. "What's the situation here?" Karen launched into her prepared speech. "Officer, this man is in direct violation of multiple HOA regulations. He's refused to comply with lawful orders and is trespassing on community property. I demand you arrest him immediately." She handed him her folder like she was presenting evidence in a murder trial. Violation notices, photos of my fence from every angle, and what she called legal documentation of his noncompliance. Officer Martinez flipped through the papers. "Ma'am, HOA disputes are typically civil matters. We can't arrest someone for fence violations." Karen's face started turning red. "But he's building on HOA property without permission. That's criminal trespassing." That's when I spoke up. "Officer, may I show you something that might clear this up?" The jurisdiction bombshell. I walked to my truck and pulled out a manila folder I'd been carrying for weeks, knowing this moment would eventually come. Inside were 3 documents that would destroy Karen's entire world. "Officer Martinez, this is my property deed. recorded with the county in 1987. This is the original subdivision plat from 1985, and this is the HOA charter and covenant from 1988. The officer studied the documents while Karen tapped her foot impatiently. "What's your point?" she snapped. "I don't have time for your fake paperwork." "The point, Karen, is that my property was subdivided and sold 2 full years before your HOA was even incorporated. Look at the legal description on the plat map." Officer Martinez's eyebrows shot up. "Ma'am, according to these documents, the property at 1247 Maple Ridge Drive was never included in the HOA boundaries. It's what we call a grandfathered property." The color drained from Karen's face. "That's impossible. I have complete records of every property in the development." "Asterisk, your records are wrong," I said calmly. "My property sits on the original Hartwell Farm subdivision from 1985. The Sunset Hills was created in 1988 and only covers lots 15 through 47. I'm lot 12. Karen grabbed the documents from Officer Martinez, scanning them frantically. "This can't be right. I've been collecting fees. I've been issuing violations." "For 6 months, I nodded. "Which brings us to the real problem. You've been impersonating a legal authority, issuing fraudulent fines, and threatening liens against property you have no jurisdiction over. That's actually criminal." Officer Martinez looked at Karen with new interest. "Ma'am, did you collect any money from this gentleman for these violations?" Karen's silence was deafening. The second officer stepped forward. "We're going to need to see those HOA records, ma'am. All of them." 3 weeks later, Karen resigned as HOA president in disgrace. Turns out, she'd been pulling this scam on 2 other grandfathered properties in the area, collecting over $3,000 in fraudulent fines. She had to pay full restitution plus legal fees. My fence, completed without another peep from anyone. Max and Luna are living their best lives in their secure yard, and I finally have the peace and quiet I moved here for. But the best part? The new HOA president sent me a formal apology letter and a gift basket, thanking me for exposing Karen's abuse of power. Sometimes justice really does prevail. So what's the lesson here? 3 things, actually. First, knowledge is power. I could have rolled over and paid Karen's fake fines, but I took the time to research my rights. Always verify someone's authority before you comply with their demands. Second, bullies count on you not fighting back. Karen had been getting away with this scam because most people just pay the fine rather than challenge the system. Sometimes standing your ground is the only way to stop the abuse. And third, karma has perfect timing. Karen spent months trying to use fake authority to control me, only to discover she had 0 jurisdiction over my property. The very word she used, jurisdiction, became the key to her downfall. If you enjoyed watching Karen get her comeuppance, smash that like button and subscribe for more real-life karma stories. Have you ever dealt with an HOA horror story? Drop your experiences in the comments below. Your story might be featured in our next video. Remember, the truth always finds the light, and justice always finds a way. Until next time, keep standing up for what's right, and never let anyone intimidate you with authority they don't actually have. Thanks for watching Tracelight Stories, where real life meets karma.